Good evening and welcome to another edition of Sustainability Roundtable series. Sustainability Roundtable series is a Nigerian Global Village Square, a dynamic multi-stakeholder platform driving national development and accelerating the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goal. The series convenes leaders, institutions, communities, women and youth in an inclusive and action-oriented space where ideas meet practice through open dialogue, shared learning, and collaborative problem solving. The Sustainability Roundtable transforms conversation into practical solutions that address Nigeria's most urgent social, economic, and environmental challenges. It is more than a forum. It is a movement for collective action, innovation, and measurable impact towards a sustainable future for all. Welcome once again to this edition of the Sustainability Roundtable. To help us unpack today's theme, I am delighted to welcome to the studio. I'm supposed to have two young, smart, and inspiring women and entrepreneurs and founders. We are still expecting the other one to join us very soon. With me in the studio is Dr. Chiamaka Deborah Eme. Chiamaka is the founder and CEO, Capola Multimedia. She's an exciting and inspiring example of women-led entrepreneur. She's driving to making great impact in community transformation. Chiamaka, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes. Our topic today is harnessing. Our topic today is harnessing the women leadership and informal sector power for sustainable community development. Doc, can you just lay a background on our topic, harnessing women leadership and informal sector power for sustainable community development? You know, in Nigeria, a critical issue that we are facing is developing our communities.
Yes. And
community development has become a very interesting issue in Nigeria that we need to pay close attention. The greater number of Nigerians are living in communities. When we talk about communities, a lot of people think that community is just the villages, the rural areas, where you have a certain number of people, like in your estate where you live, you become a community yourself.
Yeah.
But critically, most of our focus is on the rural areas, the unreached, the set of people that have no voice, the set of people that cannot even defend themselves. You understand me? And now what we are looking at, and we know that the majority of the people in these communities are women, and most of them are vulnerable, so they cannot even lead themselves. They can't take decisions. Most of the decision taking, they can't take most of their decisions that affect them. And also, in such places also, you see that the growing number of contributors to business are the informal sectors. We have most of the people in informal sector, the artisans, the market women that are not in the mainstream of formal sector of the business, Nigerian business. And so now the question what we are looking at today is to find out how can the women leadership and the informal sector power be, increasing the power of the women and the informal sector, and even their ability to take decisions and to implement their decision, help yourself in building and sustaining community development.
Thank you very much. You see, this question is a very critical one, but we're going to break it down. Now, the aspect where we think that women are invisible is not totally true. I think the issue here is that women are underrepresented where they should be represented, they are usually, there's this anecdotal sympathy narrative that women are usually portrayed with, especially women in the informal sector. Meanwhile, we will never take away the fact that in the informal sector, a lot of economic inputs comes from there, and is majorly powered by women. Women power the agricultural value chain in those informal sectors. They are the ones. They are majorly the petty traders. They are the ones who controls the economy of the household. So, if we want to strategically break this down, we'll look at it in 3 ways. First of all, we need to change the style of approach by telling the story the way it is, evidence-based storytelling. Why do I say evidence-based storytelling? We should stop making it look like women are just beneficiaries. They are not just beneficiaries. They are major contributors to the society, to sustainable development, to the economy. And so we should tell the story as it is. We should tell it based on the data that is available. And if you go to all these communities, you will see that women are the ones who power the economy. They contribute majorly, as in they contribute so much to the growth of the GDP in the society, in the community. Women are doing so much. They're controlling households, the economic of the household. But when media want to portray, they make it look like women are just beneficiaries and not are not even major stakeholders in the community. Another aspect that we must look into is, participatory. As a development communication specialist, of course, I'm going to look at it in that point of view. As a participatory communication platform, we should ensure that women are given opportunities to tell their stories themselves to policymakers. We shouldn't tell it for them. What happens is majorly we have men doing the narrative, or media just give a general view of everything. There should be platforms like town hall meetings. There should be programs, community radios that allows vernacular language, so that women can directly communicate, especially in the informal sector. Women in the informal sector can directly communicate to policymakers on their concerns, so that when policymakers hear directly from the people, from market women, from artisans, from local women selling something in a petty trader, they would understand her concern and then make policies that concern them. Then lastly, policy translation, which is where we, the development communication specialists, come in. People do not respond to something they don't understand, which is why it's very important that you deploy the services of development communication specialists to translate these things, translate policies to local women in the language that they understand. When I say language, I don't mean literally in words, but in the way they best understand. Yeah, so that's it. If I just need to add this, if we incorporate all this, definitely we will make major headway in achieving sustainable development.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So the discussion today advances both success of the SDG and the Renew Hope agenda by focusing on the real engine of the grassroots, the women, like what you have said in putting our topic for discussion in context. The women and youth and small informal businesses are the backbone of Nigerian informal economy, informal economy, leading millions of micro and small business enterprises that sustain families, create jobs, and stabilizes communities. Spotlighting women leadership reframe women as strategic drivers of the development and policy innovation and community resilience, like what Dr. Chiamaka has said. Women are strategically the drivers of development in families, like what they said, in the communities. The informal sector employs over 80% of Nigerian workforce and is the gateway for youth entrepreneurship. So harnessing its power unlock local solutions to poverty, unemployment, and food security, and social exclusion. Core national challenges. This team bridges the policies and people by promoting what we are supposed to achieve today is inclusive leadership, which with the women, like what he said, being aware, because most of our rural women are not aware of what is happening, and In that aspect, do you believe that in Nigeria, so long as the women harnessing the women power, are you also of that opinion that the women are excluded in major issues, or who is responsible for bringing the women closer to policies?
I think a lot of factors play in this problem. You know, first of all, we have a cultural problem, a social. We have a cultural and a social problem where we are not used to women's leadership. It's not common for women to be in leadership position. It's not common for women to contribute in conversations that borders around development and economy. So there is usually these disruptions that happens whenever we have situations like this. Like when women are invited into situations into leadership position, there's usually this, I don't know, I would say it is born out of, the social norm that everybody has. Most people have in mind that when women come, they're coming to disrupt the setting. But it's not always the case. It's not always the case.
I think we'll go on a short break, then we'll just take off again.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, that we are still expecting one of our guests. She's here. I told you the audience that I have two smart women, and inspiring women that inspires me so much. I admire them so much in their effort and what they are doing. They are all entrepreneurs, and both of them are entrepreneurs and founders. And so just joining us is Ms. Sadia Bisi Lamaju. She's a founder.
Yeah.
I didn't pronounce it well.
I know you did.
I tried.
She's the founder and CEO of Lima Floor and the Floors Nigeria. The last time I visited her office, I saw what she's doing and I knew that she's an inspiration to women. Sadia, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
This is a Sustainability Roundtable where we discuss issues, take issues the way it is. The essence of the Sustainability Roundtable is just a global village. It's a Nigerian global village square. It's a multi-sector platform that is driving national development and accelerating implementation of the Sustainable Development Goal. So it's a series we convene leaders, women, men and women, institutions, and the youth in an inclusive and action-oriented space where ideas meet practice. Here, what we discuss is something practical. How do we solve social problem? So that is the focus of this, and it's an open dialogue. So you share your experience, you share your vote for us to create that collaborative problem-solving platform that we are lacking in Nigeria. And so we also focus on transformative conversation, where we transform it into practical solutions that addresses Nigeria's most urgent social, economic, and environmental issue. And the focus of today, the community development has become a mantra that everybody is talking about, and yet our community is getting worse and worse every day. And when we talk about community development, and it's something that's supposed to be a very important thing for us, but in Nigeria it becomes a mantra. I'm a community development expert. I contribute from government, from the informal sector, and everywhere. And so today, that's why we are discussing, trying to look at two major things: the women's leadership, and the power of informal sectors in contributing to community development. So that's why I brought you people, because you are young, you are smart, and you are working, contributing already to society. You are an employer of labor, and then you are already adding value to the communities. And so, what does Sadia, I come to you. What does women leadership means to you when we talk about community development or the informal sector? Women development, leadership. When you talk about leadership, what does it think? What impact can a woman leadership impact on the power? Now the impact on the communities.
Yeah, thank you for. I'm very honored. Yeah, my name is Sadia Lamonju. I'm the owner of Lima Floors Nigeria. Yeah, so leadership for women, it's actually a very good thing in the country. Yeah. And when women are in power, it solves so many problems. Yeah. Like half of the problems are solved. So when women are in power, it's more, how should I even put it? It helps the community. Yes, so that's how I feel, or that's how I know women in power. It's actually a very good thing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now we are talking about also the power of the informal sector, and Dr. Chiamaka has been laid the foundation of the impact, and then she also understand trying to point those issues that has been limiting women's contribution to development, which borders on policy awareness, policy participation, and inclusivity, and all those things in leadership. Do you believe that women are excluded in most of our policy decisions, and also this thing? From your own point of view as a businesswoman, do you believe that women are excluded in the policy this thing, or if women are brought closer in policy, that Nigeria will do better?
Sometimes women are excluded, not all the time.
Okay.
Yes. So.
Okay, Chiamaka.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the truth is, there are no much representation of women in policies, development, and leadership generally, and it is why we are still where we are. if we as a nation is serious about development and sustainable development, then women must leave the margin to the center space for any community development to happen. And when a woman is empowered with the right influence and power, a community develops faster. And when a community develops faster, a nation develops even faster. So we must be very intentional about it if we are really serious about these sustainable development goals, that we bring in women to the center stage.
Now, many Nigerian women operate profitable but vulnerable informal businesses. You see me? They are making profits, but the business are vulnerable. You see me? Because when I look at vulnerability, I said in the informal sector, some people, I went to a place yesterday, is on Friday, to have a drink in one of these gardens, and before you know it, they came and put a sign, demolished. You see me? So that's some of the vulnerability that we face. And so from entrepreneurial journey, what practical strategy can help informal women lead business transition into sustainable and scalable enterprises? Sadia?
The problem isn't profit, it's structure. Imagine you separating your business money from your personal money. It goes a long way. From there, you'll be able to know, okay, this is just for business. You're able to improvise, you know. So I feel when women you keep documentation of everything, it makes it very easy for informal women.
I've been to your business, and your employer of labor.
Yes.
How did you come this far as a woman? You see me getting powerful in your field. You see me, there are few people, because the field that you are working on is a field that are mostly reserved for men. How have you survived there with all the vulnerabilities?
I just have to survive.
Okay, you don't have to survive. Just tell us, how did you manage
I just have to. Yes, I just have to. You know, that's just it. I just have to.
How do you come to that? How do you come to that? The other women need to learn so that they will be packed there. Because we are harnessing women's leadership power in this.
You know, it's a men's world. You know, so you just have to find your way around it.
Tell us how you find your way around it. That's what we want to hear.
I don't know. I can't explain deep, but I just know you just find your way around it.
No, just explain a little bit. That's what we are here. We are turning practical actions instead the conversation into solutions.
For now, I don't think I can explain deep into that. Yes.
Okay. Now, despite their economic contribution, that's the women, many women remains invisible in policy conversation. How can development communication be used to amplify the voices of voices and visibility of women in the informal sector?
Okay, thank you very much. Now this is where I come in my full regalia. Although I've mentioned a couple of, in development communication, one of the interesting things about development communication is that we deal directly with communities. We deal with building trust. That is like our core. Building trust amongst community to bring about sustainable development. So you would, there are so many things you're going to do. I've mentioned some in the earlier times you asked me. For instance, getting members of the community, women in communities to be involved in telling their stories. Let them be involved in the activities. There's something called, there's a concept actually called participatory learning and action in development communication, where people, are made to believe that they are part of solving a situation, a problem. That way, for instance, you go to carry out an intervention, you make the people believe that they are solving their own problem. That way, they will carry it on their head. They will be more involved in, carrying out the activities.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's an idea that must be deployed. If you go you need to make these women understand that what you're trying to do for them is putting them on the landmark. You're trying to bring about development for them. You're trying to give them even more power, leadership, because women have been used to being relegated. So imagine you coming to a community and you're trying to, disrupt the norm, what it is that is the norm. You have to get even the men in the community to understand that this is a reinforcement. We're not disrupting anything right now. We are trying to reinforce your position. Women are not taking over, because sometimes men get threatened when women are being empowered. There's this fear that like I said, it is a cultural thing, and also a social norm. If a woman is empowered, if she has money now, she will not be listening to no. You will show them examples of situations where women have led and has yielded something profitable. So these are tips that must be brought in. But if you want more, I'm a development communication specialist.
Okay.
Like what you mentioned is very critical. Building trust. Trust has become an essential, a very scarce commodity in community development, and that we need to actually deploy. We need to deploy it. Trust has become if communities and we start trusting ourselves the more in this thing, because we must, especially the women themselves, must really trust themselves to be able to harness such leadership power, so that they could be able to affect and build the community, because we need women now. We need to grow this leadership and the informal sector ability for us to be able to drive effective community development. Also, for us to, even if the impact of the Renew Hope agenda that we are talking about, there's no development. Every development policy need the women leadership. And now back to Sadia. Now, if we are in business now, they say access to finance remains a major constraint, especially for the women and the informal sector. Constraint. They are there, they don't have collaterals, they cannot access loan, they cannot access most of it. Now, as in looking at what we are discussing this afternoon, then we learn what finance models have proven most effective for women entrepreneurs in informal markets, and what gaps still exist.
Grants is actually okay. When the government gives grants to women, they have low interest in paying back. And this, they call it ajo. This ajo thing is actually very good for women too. It helps. So I think that one is still much in use. That's what people use more, especially market women. That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, moving forward, we now look at, you see also, now, technology is becoming a very important access, unavoidable part of us, in shaping commerce and civic participation. Now, Doc, in what ways can media and digital platforms support women economic inclusion at the grassroots?
Okay. Thank you very much. You see, the digital tools is highly transformative. It has changed positively the style of business. Right now, a woman probably somewhere in Lokoja can actually have a business running on WhatsApp. There's such a thing as WhatsApp business, or even on Instagram.
Yeah.
So you see that there's no longer confinement to a certain geographical location for you to do business. I can buy anything from Lagos and it will be delivered to me here in Abuja. Also, advocacy and mobilization becomes easy these days, because we're no longer limited by geography. Like geographical constraints is no longer a factor, because you can be in, let's say, Abuja and help a woman that is in Sokoto. Just by having access to internet connectivity, and that's all, And then now, unlike before, women can now have an identity. Once you own a digital wallet, you automatically have an identity outside of your partner or whatever normal limitations that women used to experience now. So you will see that the digital tools have actually elevated and even made things easier for women. You know, most digital organizations create tutorials for, you know, for people in business, and then women would use these things to learn skills, digital skills. They're empowering women. They're empowering women. So the whole thing has been transformed. It has been changed to improve the quality of service and, you know, business for women. Generally, I think this would further, you know, be established if there is better connectivity, because one of the problems we have is network issue. That is one of something that has remained a limiting factor. Now, again, women no longer have to carry cash around. If you go to buy something, you can decide to do a transfer. So there is this safety, or would I say some level of safety that comes with you not carrying cash around. You know, you're not prone to being attacked. So that way, doing business is even more encouraged. You're even more encouraged to do business and all of that. So you see that digital tools have greatly transformed the whole idea behind business and, you know, sustainable business.
You know, looking at our questions, the question we are now we're looking at how digital platforms support women economic inclusion at the grassroots, and you know, recently there was it becomes obvious in Nigeria when our senators say there's no network in the grassroots, in the villages. So if there are no network over there, and now we are talking about all these women belonging to the practically, you're saying me, we need to support the women economic inclusion at the grassroots digital platforms. We practically, you know, when you get to the villages also, or the communities, you see the women are already, like what you said, it's true. Every woman now know OPay. Every woman now know money point.
What if there is no network in the village?
That's what we're looking at. Because it has been. No, you are asking the question. What if there is no network? Yes. It has been established in the Senate that there is no network.
So now,
are you?
The onus is on the government to do.
So how are they going to make the transfer when there's no network?
That's where the government comes in. You know, this sustainable development is not it's a three-way thing. The government have their part to play. The grassroots has a part to play, and the media has a part to play. So we shouldn't be, in 2026, we shouldn't be talking about no network. No network should not be a factor that should limit anything. Because, I mean, we should have moved past that level. You know, there are so many network provision that can power these things. We have Starlink, we have fiber. These things, they can run anywhere. So the onus is on government, not, it shouldn't be a case. It shouldn't be a factor we are dealing with in 2026.
But we are, funnily or fortunately, we are dealing with it, and we must deal with it. You know, 2030 is just a few years ahead for the deadline for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goal. And a lot of people are community development. Everybody is a community development expert. Everybody is issue management, renewal hope agenda ambassador. Renewal hope agenda, you know why I'm very interested in it is because it's a policy that is driving development in Nigeria currently.
True.
If we ignore it, we ignore development.
True.
You know what I mean? Every country put the sustainable development goals in front of them and then pick aspect of it that you can implement for time.
True.
Then if the current government have picked a set of things that they put together and they say this agenda is what we must achieve, our responsibility both as media and the individuals and the communities and Nigerians as citizens is to find where we fit into this and find how we can contribute to implementing these policies in our own little ways. And because also that's a great document, policy document, global policy document, Sustainable Development Goal, that has a mantra that I love so much that says, leaving no one behind. You understand me? And then that is why women are very important in whatever we are doing, and especially the informal sector. If you move along this corridor, this street here, you will find a lot of informal businesses doing well, and they are how do we harness them, and that is the focus of this. And until we try to bring them together and then feed them their impact into achieving this agenda, I think we are still not doing well. I think at this point we'll go on a short break and come back. Welcome back. This is still sustainable development, sustainability roundtable, where conversation is turned into practical solution for the implementation of the sustainable development goal, and also driving a policy advocacy for our own current development policy. That's the Renew Hope agenda. And I still have with me in the studio Dr. Chiamaka Eme. Welcome, and also
Thank you very much.
I have Ms. Sadia Bishi.
Thank
Sadia,
you
you're
very
welcome.
much. Thank you.
And so, Sadia, this is for you. Now, as a business person, now Nigeria, across Nigeria, women associations, have served as an informal insurance system. Like you mentioned before, the AJO stuff and all the rest of them during economic shock. Now, what role do you think strengthening a women cooperative and business network will play in strengthening community level development?
Infrastructure.
Yeah.
Yes, when the market is safe and you can sell your. Oh God, we are live.
Talk.
Please can we?
Help now.
Okay. Just help me. Please. No, she should. I'm lost. Just continue.
Yeah, what role? I mean, what role? Cooperative are doing a lot of work, and I think like what she was trying to say, that we need to start harnessing the power of women, bringing them together, and that will limit the strength of their vulnerability in business, and strengthening business women business network, when we create the cooperative, where they can pull in their effort together. Yes. I mean, women need to pull their effort together, like what you were saying before.
Yeah, creating like communities, women-led communities, and we have when we have the leaders of the community having a place in local policy making, organization. For instance, if there's a policy making activity going on, one of the women leaders should have a place there. She should represent, the larger group. That way, the women feel as though they are part of a team, and it will give them, the confidence they desire, they need. Yeah,
we need to strengthen women network. It's part of strengthening their impact. Strengthening their impact at the community level. Lately in communities, you find out that most of the time the number of women in the communities are more. And the issue here that we are focused now, how do we now bring these women into a cooperative? Looking at the competition that exists within them. The issue is now not the strength of the women. The men look like is more like the men are together in business. After the close of business, the men, we are still going to meet in one garden or the other to discuss how the day fare. If we have quarrel in the afternoon, we can carry it over to tomorrow. But now, the women in business are now, their role is how do we strengthen cooperative, collaboration among the women in doing business, because the women are competing more among themselves, because that is the strength that we need.
So one of the easiest way to bring anybody, not just women now, together is if there is an incentive. The moment you mention the incentive, everybody wants to be a part of a thing.
No.
Let me explain further. When you want to bring women together to understand that being in the group is very important, let there be structure, let there be benefit that comes from, maybe the government through those cooperatives. For instance, let's say if you are a part of this community, getting registration for your business becomes easy. Benefit like that. If you're a part of this cooperative, getting loans for your business becomes easy. Things like that. Just make them understand that there are incentives attached to being a part of this community or that community, that women group. Then when they come together, you start talking development, you start preaching development. By the time you start preaching it, you have a leader. The leader carries whatever it is you people have agreed on to the larger house, the government, the policymakers. That way, you realize that everybody is duly represented and everybody's voice is heard.
No problem. I think you're right. We need to communicate more of the benefits. Everything like what we have said so far in this program, development is a mutual benefit. Once people understand what is in it for them, and then they will be a part of it. And the effort we've been making through this platform is to recreate a sense of ownership so that people will now know that their development is in their hand, and so we can work together towards it. Also, still on you, Dr. Eme, social norms still restrict women participation in decision making. How can behavioral change communication help shift cultural barriers limiting women in leadership in community? A lot of women are still being and are still not part of leadership circle of communities. You know what I mean? Just because of maybe religious belief, I can't do this, I'm not supposed to do this. How do we now, through this platform, lead? Can behavior change communication? I think it's become necessary now.
Yes.
Because there are things, even when we talk about the cooperative, even when we talk about women starting business, even when we talk about women starting leadership, empowering themselves to their voice to be heard, there are still a lot of norms, social norms, religious norms, all those things that restrict the woman from coming fully to participate. You want to do this, they say, no, this is not for women. You can't do this, you can't arise this. Then how do we, from your own background as a development communication expert, activate behavioral change communication to help shift this cultural barrier that is limiting women? Because until we do that, we may not get the best of our women in contributing maximally to community development.
So yes, you see, behavioral change communication is a very powerful tool in development communication, and why it will always work is because there are three dimensions to behavioral change communication. One is knowledge, two is attitude, and then the third one is practice. Okay, now let me explain to you how this is going to work. First of all, you need to disrupt the norms. It is always believed that it's almost alien to us when we have women leadership. The normal disposition is, there's this contention when a woman is a leader in a certain place, especially when we have, men there. There is this sort of uneasiness that is usually shown even in the response of direction such a woman would give. So it's very important that we make people understand. That's where the knowledge comes in. We make them understand that having a woman lead doesn't necessarily mean that we're changing the norm. We're only reinforcing the norm for the sake of balance. Because whether we like it or not, a woman is part of a community, and a woman has a lot she could bring to it. And we've already established that women greatly impact the general percentage of GDP. They are the highest employers of labor, especially in the informal setting. So we are not disrupting the norm. We are only reinforcing it. Another aspect that must be looked upon is you have to make people understand by showing them examples of where women have done greatly, so that representation is the best form of teaching. When people can see evidence of the good work women leadership is bringing, how they have been able to transform communities, transform society. They are seeing it, they are witnessing it. That way, you don't need to preach much. They would want to be a part of the movement, So again, lastly, you don't do these things without unity. The unity here is having both gender understand that this is our collective goal, not just for the women. It's not a woman agenda, no. It's for everybody. Everybody is part of this. Okay, so we're going to support the women. We need men allies, men who believe that having a woman lead is not a big problem. It's normal. It's something that should be encouraged. You know, when a man is hearing another man tell him that this woman is a better leader, this woman is going to do great, you know, and they're seeing it is happening, you know, it would greatly improve what we are driving at, which is sustainable development. Because whether you like it or not, women are here to stay. And women leadership is the only thing that can make this development to be sustainable.
Thank you very much. Yes. And women are here to stay. We are not contesting it. All of us like women. And in this program, we have much value and respect for women. That's why we are talking about this issue. Because we know the power of the woman, that when the woman is empowered, when they're empowered, they could do a lot of, they could impact so much in achieving the sustainable development goal, which is our program. And in everything that we've been doing that from the grassroots, we've been trying to look at how to empower the women, how to lift many people from the grassroots for them to contribute maximally to this agenda. And more so we are working so hard to ensure that we create this awareness of women themselves. You know, is that awareness that we need? Is that awareness that we majorly need for us to drive whatever we need to drive? But now, as many young women enters business out of necessity. Necessity, maybe need, now drive them rather than opportunity. What practical step can help us, young women and girls, now transition from survival entrepreneurship to innovation-driven enterprise? Sadia, can you help us? Many women enters business because of need. Something drive them, not because there is opportunity. No, men seek opportunity to enter. Few men enter business out of necessity, like they said. Now, how do we now transition women from being survival, thinking that they are in this business to survive, to being entrepreneurs, making changes?
Women don't have to, they just want to sell. So I think we have to be productive. You know, we have to learn how to make things. We have to learn how to innovate. So with doing that, I think women can always have a place in the society. Yeah. Yes.
Now, Chiamaka, as Nigerian advances in its development priorities, and particularly the implementation of the Renew Hope agenda, looking ahead, how can Nigerian better harness women in informal sector power to achieve sustainable community development at scale?
So, first of all,
looking at practically what is happening now, they talk on this Renew Hope agenda, everybody implementation. How do we bring the women to the mainstream to ensure that we really implement this policy?
Like I've earlier mentioned, women should be given a seat at the table of decision making. That's one way we can, that's even one of the fundamental ways, because when women are given a seat in the seat of policy making or decision making, they're able to tell you what their concerns. You're able to hear, the policymakers are able to hear their concerns directly from them. Because you cannot solve a problem when you don't have the intelligence of this problem. And that is where having women from the grassroots being present and in such a table will do for you. When you bring them in, they are able to tell you their concerns. You're able to hear it directly from them. And in most cases, because nobody is tabula rasa, they even would, tell you how they would prefer that their problem is solved. Yeah, that's one. Then also, we should work with data. We should work with data. Women are not just beneficiaries. Women are major contributors to the economy. And they should be treated as such. These are stakeholders, for God's sake. They should be treated as such. You don't treat them as an afterthought. They should be incorporated in whatever policy you're making as a major contributors. You treat stakeholders especially. You should treat women, especially women in business, especially as well. Then also the access to loans and grants. women should be able to go directly and get some of these loans are not properly structured, and it's usually difficult for women to get these loans, get these grants. And most businesses thrive on finance, capital. If they don't get this capital, how would they thrive? How would they thrive? So we need to create structures that favors women. Whenever they want to get loans, whenever they want to get grants, let there be structures that favor them. Because until we start to do the right thing, until we are serious about this development communications, this sustainable development, we would now start to bring women from the margin to the center point and making them and treating them as the important entities that they are.
Thank you very much. You see, that brought us to the issue of this partnership. How can we have strategic partnership between the medias? Honestly, people believe that there is 17 goal. I only know that there is 16 goal, but there is a driver that drive the goal in the 17 development goal. That's the 17th goal. The 17th goal say revitalizing global partnership for the implementation of the goals. And now, the global partnership that we are looking at, that is everybody working together for the implementation, the women, the youth, everybody. The men are also in the youth, the women are also in the youth.
Yes.
But we have created that division between them, the women and the youth, and everybody working together for the implementation of the goal. I think what we are saying is that there's need for a much intentional effort to build partnership among the women, you said me, through other sector, across other sector, yes, for the implementation of the goal. And so the goal and the partnership and every other thing that we do must be done well. And so long as we are intentional in harnessing the women's leadership power for the informal sector. Okay, you can ask a few minutes.
I also would like to say that in achieving this goal, like you earlier mentioned, there has to be a collaboration between the media, the government, and the grassroots, which is the women. The government being the source of, intervention, the source of whatever intervention you want to bring. The media being the amplifiers, and also those who would hold the government accountable for whatever they say they want to do for the people. While the women, the informal, women are the primary source of intelligence. They are if you are solving a problem and you don't know what the problem is, you are going to, there's very high chance that you're going to solve a problem that doesn't exist. So it's very important that the government and the women and the media come together to achieve this goal. I think
from what you have said now, there's need for us to rethink the 17th goal. And in rethinking the 17th goal, where women could be seen as driver, not dependent.
Yes,
drivers of the development are not dependent. The informal sector enterprises also as the engine of development, and then the youth as the innovation bridge, yes, to achieving the goal. And then every policy must also meet people at the grassroots.
Yes.
And so when women lead, communities grows. When the informal sector thrive, the nation prosper. This is how we turn hope into impact. We are talking about Renew Hope agenda. We must work to turn this hope into impact for it to impact our people. As we conclude today's Sustainability Roundtable series on Global TV, we reaffirm our shared commitment to building a sustainable Nigeria where ideas becomes action and collaboration drives real impact. This platform exists because of you, our valued viewer, whose interest and engagement keeps this important conversation alive. We sincerely thank you for your time and trust. Stay informed, stay inspired, and remain part of this growing movement. Join us on the next edition as we continue shaping solutions together. Until then, remember your voice matters, your participations count, and the future we seek depend on all of us. Thank you for joining us on Sustainability Roundtable series, where dialogue becomes development. Bye for now.